Hello children, I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start with lesson number 9, that is The Boy Who Wanted to Read from your reader book. It's on page number 74 of your literature book. This lesson is written by Phil Shapiro. So today we are going to talk about the inspiring story of Louis Braille, who invented a study method for the blind people who desire to read and write. In this story, the author describes the struggle of Louis, a blind boy since childhood, who proved that no impairment could be a hurdle in one's knowledge. So let's start. Once upon a time, not long ago, when people thought that the blind people could never read and the only way to read was to look at words with your eyes, a young French boy named Louis Braille thought otherwise. Louis Braille was born in a small village near Paris. His father made leather objects to sell to the other villagers. Louis's father often used sharp tools to cut and punch holes in the leather. One of the tools he used to make holes was a sharp awl. An awl is a tool that looks like a short pointed stick with a round wooden handle. While playing with one of his father's awls, Louis's hand slipped and he accidentally poked one of his eyes. At first, the injury didn't seem serious, but then the wound became infected. A few days later, the infection spread to his other eye and the boy became blind. As the days went by, Louis learned to adapt. He went to school with all his friends and did well in his studies. He was intelligent and creative. He wasn't going to let his disability slow him down one bit. Soon he heard of a special school in Paris for blind students. Louis went off to study there. Louis found that the school did have books for the blind people to read. These books had large letters that were raised up off the page. Since the letters were so big, the books themselves were large and bulky. More importantly, the books were expensive to buy. The school had exactly 14 of them. Louis set about reading all 14 books in the school library. He could feel each letter, but it took him a long time to read a sentence. Louis knew that there must be a better way. There must be a way for a blind person to quickly feel the words on a page. There must be a way to read as quickly and as easily as a sighted person. That day, he set himself the goal of thinking up a system for blind people to read. As fate would have it, Louis soon got the chance he was looking for. He heard about something called night writing, designed by Captain Charles Barber. The French army used alphabet code to read messages in the dark. This code was used to deliver messages at night. Soldiers could not read written messages because they would need light to read. If they lit a match, the light might attract the enemy's attention. Instead, they used an alphabet code made up of small dots and dashes. The symbols were raised up off the paper so that soldiers could read them by running their fingers over them. Louis got hold of some of this code and tried it out. It was better than reading the bulky books, but he wanted to improve it further. On his next vacation home, Louis spent all his time working on the system of writing. As he sat there in his father's leather shop, he picked up one of his father's blunt awls The idea came to him in a flash. The very tool which had caused him to go blind could be used to make a raised dot alphabet that would enable him to read. The next 5 days, he spent working on an alphabet made up entirely of 6 dots. The position of the different dots would represent the different letters of the alphabet. Louis used a blunt awl to punch out a sentence. Louis had invented a new system of reading and writing for the blind, and the boy was only 15 years old. This system for reading and writing is used all over the world today. It is simply known as Braille. Today, the blind can read maps in Braille. Special Braille computers enable them to work and connect with the online world. A few years ago, India issued a special 2 rupee coin to mark the 200th birth anniversary of Louis Braille. The coin bears his portrait and also his name written in Braille. In many countries, there are Braille symbols on currency notes. This helps the blind identify the value of the notes. However, all this was possible only because of a blind boy with a dream. Louis Braille not only achieved his dream to read and write, but also helped thousands across the world to read and write too. Children, that is all for today. Thank you everyone. Hope you liked the story.